Welcome to Lepton's Automations. We are going to see a factory IO application. Okay, this is a factory IO is a software in which you can train yourself in PLC logics. In factory IO you can make different machines assemblies. There are different items in its library by which you can make different assemblies and machines. Today I have created a box sorting machine. Okay, you can see that in this assembly I have made two conveyors. These are two light conveyors placed aligned, and the left hand I have kept a emitter. This emitter will continuously emit materials. You can see in this list there are three kinds of boxes which are going to be emitted at this point: small box, medium box and large box. These three boxes will be continuously emitted from this emitter point. When they reach the this one red arrow mark is a removal, materials will be removed. This operation need not be programmed, that is the emitting and removing operations need not be programmed, because it is a internal function, that is a factory IO function. Okay, you can see that apart from the conveyor and the emitter, you can see that I have kept a diffuse sensor over here. This diffuse sensor will sense the materials that are passing over the conveyor. I have kept in such a way that only the large boxes will be sensed by this sensor. The smaller boxes will be passing below this sensing area. That is, the small boxes will definitely reach the removing side, and the large boxes will actuate this pusher. When this sensor is sensed, this pusher will be actuated. You can see that this is a pneumatic arm. This is a pneumatic arm. It should push the box down this slide. With this push button, pusher consists of two positions, that is one at the front end and other is the back end. Now it is at the back end. You can see that there is a control panel. I have kept it at the side. Okay, there is a start button, there is a stop button, and there is an emergency switch. When you press the start button, the operation should start, and when you press the stop button, the operation should stop. The start button is usually a NO switch, that is a normally open switch, and the stop button is a NC switch, that is when you press that the operation should stop. No. See the programming side of this assembly. Now I have opened the control IO. Control IO refers to the internal soft PLC. Which uses a function block diagram. It's a language that is used in factory IO, control IO, in order to program. Okay, in control IO you can see there is a list called tags. In tags it contains a list of items that are being used. Okay, you can see the belt conveyors, diffuse sensor, emergency switch, emitter. These are all these items are in the factory IO functions. We do not have to play with that. Okay, pusher. These two are the front and back sensors, which are actually reed switches that are placed in the front and the back of the pusher, which indicates the position of the cylinder. Okay, I'm going to start with my start button. I have placed the start button. Now when I press the start button, the code 2 conveyors needs to run, that is belt conveyor needs to run. When I press the start button, these two conveyors should start running. Okay, now I need to use a function called SR. SR refers to set reset, that is when I press the start button there will be a positive pulse for a short duration of time until the contact of the start button is removed. But we need to run the belt continuously. In order to run it continuously, we are going to use SR, which acts like as a latching. Now when I press the start button, the two conveyors will be running. Now I'm going to use the stop button to reset that. When I press the stop button, the process needs to stop. As I said, stop button is a NC switch, so I need to use another logical operation, that is NOT. Is a NOT switch. When I press the stop button, it needs to give a positive pulse to the reset. Now since it's an NC switch, we need to invert its pulse. Now when we press the stop button, there will be a positive pulse that is will be passed on to the reset of SR switch. Now I have made my start and stop switches connections first. Now I need to place the diffuse sensor. Place the diffuse sensor. When diffuse sensor is sensed, we need to actuate this one pusher. This is a pusher. When I push the diffuse sensor, the pusher should be actuated. There is another case that only when material leaves the diffuse sensor we need to push it, not when the diffuse sensor is sensed. That is, when the diffuse sensor turns from on to off, then only the pusher needs to be actuated. So I am going to use a operation called trigger. I am going to use a reverse trigger, that is when the operation, that is when the pulse turns from off on to off, then only our pusher will be actuated. Again I am going to use SR. SR so that the pusher remains last. So when the diffuse sensor is sensed, there will be a positive pulse coming to this set and the pusher will be actuated. Now I'm going to need to reset the pusher. That is, once the pusher has reached its forward position, that is its front position, we need to reposition into its initial position. For that I am going to use the read switch, that is the pusher front limit. That is, when our cylinder, when our piston reaches its front position, we need to pull it back. For that I am going to use the front sensor at the front, that's a read switch, and it is being connected to the reset. Now when the pusher reaches its front limit, the operation will be reset. Pusher will be taken to its initial position. Let me try running it. Okay, it's running. To see the working of our program, I'm turning it to the play position. Now I have to press this start button. This is start button. Here you can see there is a small box that is being placed on the conveyor from the emitter. I am pressing the start button. Our conveyor starts. You can see that it passes through the diffuse sensor without any actuation. Second one is also a small box. You can see it is being removed at the remover side. Okay, again a small box is coming. Let's wait for a large box to come so that we can see whether our program is working or not. Okay, a large box is being passed over the conveyor. Now we can see it's working. You can see that it is being pushed over the slide. Small boxes are being carried over the conveyor, while the large box is being pushed out by the pusher. Most of the boxes are coming as small. Let's wait for a large box to arrive. Okay, there's a large box coming. Okay, here you can see that both the large boxes are now out of the carriage. Okay, thank you. Please do like and subscribe our video at our video reference channel. Thank you.